our own bodies have their own EM field. Our minds are electrical synapses. When you die, the first law of physics is law of conservation of energy right there. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So if it's no longer in the body when you die, then where does it go?
And so that's what we'd like to find out.
It can't be destroyed, so it's measurable in some form. So the idea is you look for those same energy patterns in the environment, and then you try and document them in some form. The other things we've been noticing are like a lot of the meters, a lot of the stuff that we're looking for is actually down near human level of the hertz range where these things are, whether it's from infrasound from our bodies or whether it's turning into the EM fields down in 40 hertz and under range. These things are providing the best results. And the same thing goes for like photos where we're discussing the corner of the eye. It's a different wavelength of light that comes in. That's much lower spectrum than your standard like straight on daylight, what's visible to us. It's a slightly different shift. And that's more in tune with our own energy field than anything else.
So now that we've talked about the science side, which I find is kind of the dry part of paranormal investigating, we'll move back to what I'm sure you guys came for, which is the cool stuff that we've done or neat results we've gotten. And we like to kind of do, we want to cover what you guys want to talk about. So if you ever have a question, just raise your hand. We have another EVP we'd like to play for you, and this was taken at a place called John Hoover Inn. And this is a bar that we investigated both for Jefferson County Historical Society and for the PBS tour. And this bar was from the 1800s, and I mean,
they reported hearing control of music from upstairs, what is now a barber shop. They also reported seeing glasses moving. Also, a variety of different phenomena.
It was originally, it's always been a bar, and currently they have apartments. People live there, and that's kind of how it's always been, sort of off and on, for pretty much the entire time the building's been there. It used to be a gambling den where people would go, and so people always reported hearing music. So when we did the investigation, I decided to go upstairs and sit outside the barber shop and just kind of record and see what I could get. So this is what we got. Keep in mind, this bar was one of those kind of backwoods bars with country music and
they unplugged the TV, they unplugged the jukebox, they threw all the customers and patrons out onto the porch so no one can make a sound and bother us.
And what bar would have control of music playing on their jukebox anyways? So that was an interesting experience for us. It definitely wasn't something we're looking for or expecting to get. And in fact, we didn't know that they had reports of control of music until later on. We went downstairs and were playing back the recording for the owners just to see what in the heck we'd gotten. And they heard it and they're like, oh yeah, they've reported hearing music from there. It's like, oh, okay. Kind of puts it into context.
So, this is another one that we got. This one's from a place called Cook's Corners up in Franklin County. The story behind this one was Sherry Rive actually contacted us because someone submitted a story to her, as everybody often does. She doesn't do field research, she sends us to do field research.
So it was pretty much this guy who moved up there with his daughter. The house had been almost destroyed in a fire, and so this guy bought it and restored it, and he and his daughter moved up there, and I guess he kind of...
The legend says that this guy moved.
The legend says that he snapped and killed his daughter, or first he kept her up in his room and abused her pretty much, and she wrote these poems on her walls to her father, or for whatever reason, and then he killed her, dropped her up, threw her in a well, and then killed himself. And so we went to this house, and it's an old abandoned house, and just looking washing machine. I mean, by this point in time, we've been there for so long, it wasn't really clothes anymore, it was more just like,
Rags.
yeah, and animal bedding. But I mean, there was still a fridge, I mean, everything was, there were still clothes hanging in the closet. I mean, that's how just, like, they just dropped everything. So, we looked around and we did some EVPs, and, the first time we were there, we actually heard footsteps. We were in this barn, and we were all downstairs, all standing in one area and not moving, and we were doing a recording, and we heard footsteps upstairs. We actually got that, I think we have that.
Yeah, that's the
But,
second track.
the second time we were there, we were upstairs in the loft of the barn, and, we could see a shadow, and you know, we could sort of feel that we were being followed. So we decided to do an EVP. And, we were trying to communicate with the spirit, and so when that happens, I kind of like to try and, you know, get their name, to try, you know, because if you call them by name, you know, it builds more of a connection. It's not just like, hey, you ghost over in the corner, you know, it's talking to them like you would to anybody else. So this is what we ended up recording.
Oh, that is the first step. Thank you. Well, it's the footsteps one that. That was kind of clear footsteps too.
Very nice. Actually, I guess this is the one.
No, this is the footsteps.
That was a footsteps one, sorry. They're not really labeled on that clearly.
It's labeled by case number, but